What if Jon Snow's resurrection was planned centuries before he was even born? Stick around because number 1 will blow your mind. Game of Thrones ended years ago, but the theories? They're still alive and kicking. Some of them make so much sense that you'll wonder why the show didn't go there. We're talking about theories that connect dots from the books and the series in ways that are actually possible. No tinfoil hats here. Just solid evidence and careful analysis. Let's get into it. Number 10. The Grand Maester Conspiracy. The Citadel isn't just about learning and knowledge. There's a theory that the Maesters have been actively working to eliminate magic from the world. Think about it. Every time magic starts making a comeback, Maesters are right there, conveniently offering advice that weakens magical houses and creatures. In the books, Maester Marwyn straight up tells Samwell Tarly that the Citadel has been killing off dragons and plotting against House Targaryen for generations. The show glossed over this, but the books make it clear. When the last dragons died during the reign of Aegon III, Maesters were suspiciously present. When Aerys II went mad, his Grand Maester was poisoning him with advice that made everything worse. Look at what happened to Winterfell. Maester Luwin, as kind as he was, never believed in the old magic. He discouraged the Stark children from exploring their warging abilities. Bran could have been trained properly if someone had taken his dreams seriously earlier. The Maesters don't want magic back because magic threatens their power. They built their authority on science and reason. If magic returns, what do people need Maesters for? The evidence is scattered throughout both the books and show, and it makes perfect sense. Number 9. Tyrion is a secret Targaryen. Before you roll your eyes, hear this out. There's actual evidence. King Aerys II, the Mad King, had a thing for Tywin Lannister's wife, Joanna. Multiple sources in the books mention that Aerys took liberties during the bedding ceremony at Tywin and Joanna's wedding. He was obsessed with her. Tyrion was born with white blonde hair that turned golden as he grew. His eyes are described as mismatched, one green and one black. Targaryens are known for unusual eye colors. He's obsessed with dragons. When he visits the ruins beneath the Red Keep in the books, he dreams about dragons constantly. Then there's the moment in the show when he approaches Rhaegal and Viserion in Meereen. They don't burn him. They let him unchain them. The timeline works too. Joanna visited King's Landing 9 months before Tyrion was born. Tywin's hatred for Tyrion goes beyond just the death of his wife during childbirth. He tells Tyrion, "You are no son of mine," multiple times. What if he meant it literally? This would make Tyrion III head of the dragon alongside Jon and Daenerys. George R.R. Martin loves this kind of hidden parentage twist. It happened with Jon. Why not Tyrion? Number 8. Bran caused the Mad King's madness. We saw Bran affect the past when he caused Hodor's condition. He went back in time, warjed into young Wylis, and created Hodor. The show confirmed time travel exists in this universe and that Bran can influence past events. So what if he did it more than once? The Mad King Aerys kept screaming "burn them all" before he died. But what if he was hearing Bran's voice from the future? During the Battle of Winterfell, Bran could have been trying to warn Aerys about the White Walkers, trying to tell him to burn them all, meaning the army of the dead. But Aerys, not understanding the context, thought Bran was telling him to burn his enemies, burn King's Landing, burn everyone. This explains why Aerys kept hearing voices. Multiple characters in the books mention that the Mad King would have conversations with people who weren't there. He thought the walls were whispering to him. What if that was Bran trying to communicate across time? The three-eyed raven told Bran that if you stay too long in the past, you drown. Maybe Bran spent too much time trying to fix things and accidentally broke them instead. It would be the ultimate tragic irony. Bran trying to save the world ended up helping to destroy it. Number 7. The Night King wanted to stop Daenerys, not kill everyone. The Night King spent thousands of years behind the wall. He never tried this hard to break through until recently. What changed? Dragons came back. Daenerys hatched 3 dragons, and suddenly the Night King is on the move. He even waited at that frozen lake for Daenerys to show up with her dragons. He had a plan. What if the Night King knew that Daenerys was the real threat? He saw the future somehow, saw her burning King's Landing, saw the destruction she would cause. He needed to stop her. The White Walkers are ice and ice stops fire. They are the balance. The books constantly talk about ice and fire needing to exist together. Maybe the Night King wasn't evil. He was trying to prevent something worse. When the Night King raised the dead at Hardhome, He only attacked after the wildlings rejected his offer of peace. He just stood there watching until they started fighting. During the Battle of Winterfell, he went straight for Bran. Why? Because Bran could see the truth. Bran knew what was coming, and the Night King needed to silence him before Bran could let Daenerys destroy everything. This theory flips the entire story on its head, but it fits with George R.R. Martin's style of making you question who the real villain is. Number 6. Jon Snow will become the Night King in the books. The show's ending disappointed a lot of people, but the books aren't finished yet. George R.R. Martin has said the ending will be similar, but with different execution. What if Jon doesn't get a happy ending? What if he becomes the next Night King? Here's how it works. The Night King was created by the children of the forest to fight humans. He was originally a man, probably a Stark based on his appearance. Jon died and was brought back by the Lord of Light. But resurrection has consequences. Beric Dondarrion lost parts of himself every time he died. Lady Stoneheart became a monster driven by revenge. Jon might lose his humanity slowly. In the books, Jon's last word before he dies is ghost. What if his consciousness went into his dire wolf? When Melisandre brings him back, what if something else came back too? What if he's no longer fully human? The books set up that someone needs to guard the realms of men forever. The Night's Watch was created for this purpose. What if Jon fulfills that purpose literally by becoming an immortal guardian in the far north? The prince that was promised isn't supposed to have a happy ending. Azor Ahai had to kill his wife to forge Lightbringer. Sacrifice is part of the prophecy. Jon sacrificing his humanity to protect the realm forever would be the bittersweet ending George R.R. Martin promised. It would hurt, but it would make sense.
Robb Stark and most of his bannermen are in Riverrun for the funeral of his grandfather.
Number 5. Varys is a merman. Yes, seriously. This sounds crazy, but there's evidence. Varys is bald, has no beard, and his voice never broke during puberty even though he claims to be a eunuch. Mermen in the lore of Westeros exist, and have been mentioned multiple times. They supposedly can't grow beards and have smooth skin. Varys refuses to travel by boat whenever possible. When he does travel by sea, he gets violently seasick. That's suspicious for someone who supposedly came from across the narrow sea. What if it's not seasickness but something else? What if being on the surface of water affects him differently? The biggest clue is the voice from the flames. When the sorcerer cut Varys and threw his parts into the fire, a voice answered from the flames. Varys won't talk about what the voice said, but it traumatized him for life. What if the voice revealed what he really is? What if magic exposed him as non-human? In the books, there are ancient stories about mermen working with the Faceless Men and the Warlocks of Qarth. Varys has connections to both groups. He seems to know things he shouldn't, appears in places faster than should be possible. The tunnels beneath King's Landing connect to the sea. Varys knows every tunnel, every secret passage. He built his network of little birds using children from Flea Bottom, which is right by the water. This theory would explain so much about his character and why he's so mysterious. Number 4. The Three-Eyed Raven is actually evil. Bran became the Three-Eyed Raven and then became king. Convenient, right? Too convenient. What if the Three-Eyed Raven has been manipulating events for centuries to gain ultimate power? Think about all the terrible things that had to happen for Bran to end up on the throne. Ned had to die. The Red Wedding had to happen. The Starks had to be scattered. Jon had to die and come back. Daenerys had to go mad. Thousands upon thousands of people died, and the person who benefits most is Bran. He can see everything, manipulate the past, and now he rules the 6 kingdoms with no one to challenge him. The original Three-Eyed Raven, Bryn Den Rivers, was known as Bloodraven when he was human. He was a spy master and manipulator who used dark magic. He disappeared beyond the wall and became the Three-Eyed Raven. What if this entity just moves from body to body, always working toward more power? Bran even says he's not Bran anymore. He's something else. Look at what happened after Bran became king. He immediately sent the most powerful people away. Jon to the Night's Watch. Arya across the sea. Sansa rules the north independently. He isolated himself from anyone who could threaten him. Then he says he's going to find Drogon. Why? To control the last dragon. To eliminate the final threat to his rule. The show played it like a happy ending, but if you look closer, it's actually terrifying. An all-seeing being with no emotions and no human connections controls Westeros. That's not a democracy or even a good monarchy. That's a surveillance state run by something that used to be human. Number 3. Daenerys was always meant to burn King's Landing. People hated how Daenerys turned dark in Season 8, but the signs were always there. They just built her up as a hero so well that we ignored the red flags. Let's review the evidence. In Qarth, she threatens to burn cities to the ground. In Astapor, she burns the slave masters alive. In Meereen, she crucifies masters without trial. She burns the Tarlis when they refuse to bend the knee. Every time someone betrays her or refuses her, her first instinct is fire and blood. That's the Targaryen words. Fire and blood. Not justice and mercy or peace and prosperity. The books are even clearer about this. Daenerys has visions in the House of the Undying showing her in a destroyed King's Landing with snow falling through the broken throne room. That wasn't snow. That was ash. Her father was the Mad King. Targaryens have a history of madness. Jaehaerys II said every time a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin and the world holds its breath. Madness or greatness. Daenerys showed signs of both throughout the entire series. We wanted her to be different because we liked her, but George R.R. Martin was showing us the truth all along. The difference between her and other rulers is that she had dragons. Tywin Lannister killed thousands. Robb Stark executed prisoners. Stannis burned people alive. But none of them could do what Daenerys did because they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. Give someone absolute power and watch what happens. That's the point. The show rushed it, but the destination was always there in the text. The books will probably show her descent more gradually, but she's heading to the same place. Number 2, Jaime and Cersei aren't really dead. The show ended with Jaime and Cersei dying together in the Red Keep as it collapsed. But here's the thing. We never actually saw their bodies found. We saw them under rubble, then later Tyrion finds them under some bricks. That's it. In a series known for fake deaths and surprise returns, that's suspicious. George R.R. Martin loves prophecies that come true in unexpected ways. Maggie the Frog told Cersei that the Valonqa, the little brother, would wrap his hands around her throat and choke the life from her. Cersei assumed it meant Tyrion. But Jaime is technically her little brother too, born moments after her. What if the prophecy hasn't been fulfilled yet because they are not actually dead? The books have extensive tunnel systems under King's Landing. Jaime knows them from his time in the Kingsguard. What if they escaped and went into hiding? The prophecy also said Cersei would have 3 children and all of them would die. That happened. It said a younger, more beautiful queen would cast her down and take everything she holds dear. That happened with Daenerys and Sansa. The prophecy is coming true piece by piece, but the final part about the Valonqa hasn't happened in a satisfying way. If George R.R. Martin writes the books where they survive, it changes everything. Jaime would have to make the choice again. Save everyone and kill Cersei, or let the world burn for her. That's the arc his character deserves, not dying under rocks. It would be the ultimate test of his redemption. The show might have simplified it, but the books could go deeper. Number 1. The Prince That Was Promised prophecy is about bringing back the Long Night. Everyone assumed the prince that was promised would save the world from darkness. But what if we got it backwards? What if the prophecy is about someone bringing back the Long Night, not ending it? Prophecies in Game of Thrones are always twisted. They never mean what you think they mean. Azor Ahai defeated the darkness thousands of years ago, but the prophecy says he'll be reborn. Why would you need to defeat the darkness again unless someone brings it back first? The prince that was promised is supposed to wake dragons from stone, unite the realm, and forge Lightbringer by stabbing their loved one through the heart. That's not a hero's prophecy. That's a villain's origin story. Jon Snow killed Daenerys, the woman he loved, to save the realm. He stabbed her through the heart. That's exactly what Azor Ahai did to create Lightbringer. But instead of getting a magic sword, Jon got exiled. Instead of bringing light, he brought more darkness and division. The prophecy might have been about stopping Daenerys, who represented fire and destruction. But in doing so, Jon may have set up the conditions for the Long Night to return. The books haven't finished this storyline. The White Walkers aren't defeated yet in the books. The war is still coming. What if Jon's actions don't stop it but cause it? What if killing Daenerys breaks some kind of balance between ice and fire, and now ice will consume everything? The prophecy could be a warning, not a promise of salvation. Melisandre got everything wrong before. What if everyone got this wrong too? This would be the most George R.R. Martin thing ever. Build up this chosen one narrative for books and seasons, make everyone believe in the prophecy, then reveal it was actually about causing the apocalypse, not preventing it. The bittersweet ending he promised could be that our heroes win the Game of Thrones but lose the real war against death itself. So there you have it. 10 theories that still make sense years after Game of Thrones ended. Some of these might actually come true in the books if George ever finishes them. What do you think? Which theory sounds the most believable to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, you're clearly a true Game of Thrones fan. So hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into Westeros. We've got more theories, more analysis, and more content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, when you play the game of theories, You either get it right or you look ridiculous on the internet.